Oh, well, hello there. Oh, we all know that analyzing literature can be confusing and frustrating, but you don't have to take it all in at once. Psychoanalytical. That's 7 syllables. Maybe 7 too many. But every word has its purpose and a meaning too. Psychoanalytical theory is an approach formed by neurologist Sigmund Freud in the 19th century. It claims that childhood experiences and unconscious desires influence thoughts and behavior. Freud argues that the human psyche includes the id, ego, and superego, which compete in their demands within an endless cycle of sought gratification. When analyzing The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde from the psychoanalytical approach, one learns how the novel reflects onto society as well as the author's perspective. Yesterday, I was born Spanish. In the afternoon, I was French. At night, I was Ethiope. Today, they say I'm English. I don't know what will become of me. In the world of Junot Díaz's characters, the lines of culture and existence are blurred. The novel in itself is a representation of the constant battles within the mind between competing forces. Diaz believes that racial categories too often divide us, and through his characters and dialogue he is able to showcase the competing white, Dominican, and African American heritages. The Brief Wondrous Life is characterized by a varied narration that starts us off with a curse they say came first from Africa, carried in the screams of the enslaved, then to the slums of inner city New Jersey, and finally to the cornfields of the Dominican Republic. The ease by which Diaz moves his narrative emphasizes the interconnectedness between these cultures, that they are not as independent as they present themselves. Ashley Kunze states in History, Hair, and Reimagining Racial Categories that Diaz's novel charts a movement not only from one place to another, but also from one historical continuum to another. Diaz believes that we are all associated subconsciously through the past and common suffering. As stated by Kunze, moving readers back and forth among Africa, the United States, and the Dominican Republic, Diaz demonstrates the multiple and inseparable histories that combine to create racial categories. As an Afro-American Dominican, much of Diaz is reflected in his work, even in the language used or the actions portrayed. Brian Doherty dubs The Brief Wondrous Life as the authentic portrayal of desperate human experience in his article The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Wilde. Characters Yunwar, Oscar, and Lola struggle through their language to define themselves, moving fluidly across languages to surge with all of the complexity of immigrant, inner city, and working class experience. The Cabral family struggles with their mother's rejection of blackness, in contrast to her daughter's rejection of Dominicanness. The characters struggle to straddle the lines of identity showcase the id's unconscious impulses to belong, which conflict with the superego's morality. This is especially seen in Lola's battle to love herself yet stay loyal to her domineering mother. Lastly, we see the reoccurrence of the id, ego, and superego when analyzing the relationships between characters and themselves. According to Catherine Weiss and to Eres no Nada Dominicano, a natural narration in denaturalizing gender constraints, Oscar does not fit traditional definitions of Caribbean masculinity, and in the eyes of his community he will never be Dominican. Unable to satisfy the libido for social belonging, Oscar's social anxieties have been turned inward as he immerses himself in white culture, wearing his nerdiness like a Jedi wore his lightsaber. Oscar is a classic case of the id, or unconscious, overpowering the superego, the moral compass, as he attempts to satisfy his need for love through ways deemed unacceptable by the community that rejects him. Now, we've reached our final checkpoint, but before we wrap this up, let's go over what's been covered. First, the various perspectives and histories threaded throughout the book are Diaz's way of telling people, hey, you're really not that different from him or her, because there's a common past that transcends race and time that we subconsciously recognize. Second, language and action reveal the interrelationship between id, ego, and superego in relationship to society. Characters like Oscar, Lola, and Yunwar remind us that we are all searching for an identity to claim.
created using Powtoon.